Hello, and welcome to this session for HVweek 2016. Thanks very much for joining us. I'm Kate Oultram. I'm the Health Sector Unite organiser, and I work as part of our Health Sector team. This session is really about making things easier for yourselves and trying to change things for the better by using your professional networks. The basic message is about getting yourselves organised together. Let's have a look at the next slide. What's it like where you work? Is it muddy water or a nice fresh spring? Have a look at some of the quotes here. Which side has more that you recognise, and which would you rather identify with? Stagnant water has no movement other than the increasing amounts of algae, anaerobes and rubbish that builds up. Eventually there's no oxygen and no life. Fresh running water seems to have an energy of its own. Just standing by a waterfall is refreshing. The water's constantly moving. Any leaves or twigs can't help but be carried on towards somewhere new. It can feel scary to be carried away, but also exciting. It really does make sense for people with common issues to try to solve them together. The quotes on the right-hand side illustrate how people feel when they're involved, supported, and probably more confident and positive. Dare we say, feeling like they can make a difference. It's natural to want to change things that don't look right or feel comfortable. However, it's really difficult for one person to change things on their own. Every one of our health visitors, like the 100,000 health sector members in Unite, should be able to do the job they train to do safely and effectively, in the best interest of children and families, patients, clients, colleagues and future generations. Unite's members are in our union to make sure this happens, and the CPHVA is a part of Unite in Health family for our health visitors like you. If you're feeling frustrated about not being able to change things for the better, let's think about what could help. You do have other people around you with skills and knowledge that complement your own. Don't forget our members are a union, which is a group of people who are stronger together than anyone could be on their own. If you sometimes feel that no one's listening, or you're the only one who cares or ever does anything, well, it's just demoralising, and you'll probably be asking yourself, why you bother? You're trying to keep your practice going under pressure from service demands, and you're there for the client families and your colleagues. Who supports you while you're doing all that? Well, the first stage is to make sure that you're not alone or doing everything yourself, and this takes a well-organised network. If you're a member of Unite CPHVA, you're already part of a strong network. However, if you aren't sure who your rep is, or even who the other members are, in your own team or amongst the people you work with, it's not looking too well organised there. If you're one of the locally accredited reps in Unite CPHVA, you'll need to know who the other members are so that you can pass on information and also gather back details of what's going on with them. If they're not sure who their rep is, it'll lead to other individuals feeling isolated and not linked in with each other. You're professional people with great communication and organising skills because of what you do. You'll know how important it is to support others and be supported by others yourself. So the first step is to strengthen those links. Let's see what the next slide holds. If you're a professional, perhaps even a leader in your team, locally in your service, regionally or nationally, you aren't really alone. You're not really lost in the mist from the previous slide, even if it feels like that sometimes. Just look at the number of people and different resources you have to support you. All that just by being a member of Unite CPHVA. If you run down the list and mentally tick these off, if you know they are there and you do feel supported by them and others, that's great. You might just recognise a few of the faces from the pics if you're already involved with Unite CPHVA. If there are a few things you hadn't considered, would it be worth exploring these further? Everyone needs a good support network. People are usually very happy to help if you need information, advice, or support in other ways. Try asking and start building your networks wider for you. If you're involved more, you'll be strengthening the support for others, and they'll appreciate that. Especially if there are local workplace or practice issues, then it's easier or more effective to tackle things together. Most of you are in professions where good communication skills are your absolute stock in trade. How can you translate those skills into making more effective networks? Is anyone missing from your distribution lists on email? How can you be sure? Do you know the other members and the reps in Unite CPHVA? What about non-members or members of other health unions? I'm guessing that your real skills lie in face-to-face communication, either with individuals or small groups of people. You'll have developed a great sense of personal influence and persuasiveness, and you can use that relationship building, rapport and empathy to strengthen your voice at work. You'll already be great on the phone and talking to people in their own setting. Take advantage of opportunities to meet new people or have a quick conversation with someone you only see at meetings. They'll be happy you made contact. More people make a louder noise than one or two individuals, generally speaking, that is. If issues occur at work, it's much easier to deal with them, professional or industrial, if everyone's involved. Hence the term union. A louder voice means it's likely to be heard and not ignored. You can only know what your colleagues and CPHVA members are saying, what's happening, and if the reps and Uniting Health team are 100% behind you, if you're involved and there are no gaps in your network. Anyone who's heard me talk about organising before will remember the dendritic diagram. This shows how if you only speak to 3 people about an issue, if they can speak to 3 others, and so on, by the 4th stage, 81 people have discussed it. By the 5th stage, you could have reached 243 people. This illustrates the beauty of having a simple, effective channel for two-way communication. You'll be able to pass on information quickly or be able to get information back from others. This sort of communication tree works with email distribution lists, telephone directories, and it supports your great interpersonal skills. Keep it simple, and when you're starting to build up the tree, others can help as they'll know their contacts better. Okay, so you do sometimes feel that you're the only one doing everything. Make life easier for yourself by sharing. Meeting others and giving them even a small job to do will help them feel involved and supported. You can help others to help yourself. You know that giving lots of people a small thing to do makes sense. You just have to delegate. Although it takes time to hand over your task, and you can never be sure that someone else will do it as well as you, it's the only way to free yourself up to lead rather than manage things. Recent stress surveys report that if overwork is an issue, many people begin taking on or creating distracting or displacement tasks to mask the underlying problem. However, this results in a cycle that builds additional pressure on the individual. You'll know this is the mindset of presenteeism or workaholism. The opposite result is absenteeism, which puts further burden on colleagues, the service, and lowers morale. Either way, stress adversely affects work performance because of fatigue, poor concentration, memory problems, poor mental health. If you don't delegate or free yourself up to lead, then you won't be working efficiently for yourself at home, your professional life, nor for your union work, certainly not for your colleagues. They may feel that you're not supporting them. When you meet up with people, you'll be able to gauge what's giving everyone sleepless nights, whether it's an individual issue or a collective one that's affecting everyone. Other people like you don't want to feel they're the only person in the world. By small and regular contact, you'll be helping your colleagues to feel involved too, And of course, you'll be involved yourself. People see some CPHVA reps doing everything and getting run ragged. No wonder some people don't fancy the role themselves. Time is very precious, so spend yours wisely, not on myriad tiny tasks that others could easily do themselves. Here's a quick tool for working out your priorities. That's once you've given the smaller tasks away, or you plan to. This is an effort impact graph. For your own well-being, you need to concentrate on using less effort to gain more impact. There are lots of examples here. You want quick wins, which are little effort and more impact, and to be able to plan for bigger projects like high-impact ones, but taking more effort. Smaller jobs you can delegate if you don't need to do them, or do them quickly because only you can. That takes least effort. Never try to engage in thankless tasks. You'll suffer, and perhaps your colleagues will too, if you're wasting effort on putting in lots of personal energy and effort, but with little visible outcome for anyone. Think about your own stuff. How does it fit into these boxes? Remember, always leave those thankless tasks alone. Preserve your own physical and mental well-being. As a team, you could work on something like this between you, perhaps a service issue. As a union, you could work on something like this with reps and other members to tackle an issue together. What would be quick wins? What could you leave for now because they're just too long-term? What's easy for someone with the right skills to do? What's not worth doing because you'll be using too much time and energy to get very little change? If strengthening your relationships at work results in a louder voice for you and your colleagues, use work-related issues and opportunities to your advantage. Get people together to talk about professional issues that affect you. You can all learn together, boost your CPD, increase your knowledge, and keep up your practice together. Involving more people spreads the word and keeps Unite CPHVA visible and relevant. That might mean in itself that more people will see you as a credible and vibrant group of people and want to join you. More people involved, wider diversity of talent. But don't get carried away. Keep things simple. Use whatever is current in people's minds and use appropriate people and resources to support you. Here's another tool you can use when you're working together. Perhaps even building up your communication tree or planning your next professional update meeting. First, decide and agree on what you want to achieve. List all the factors you need to take into account, and then decide if you have influence and control, influence but no control, or neither influence nor control. This is really to help you focus on what you can do about opportunities or issues together. It's really to stop you wasting time and effort on what you can't do, like those thankless tasks. As an example, if your goal's running a marathon, the factors you can't really influence or control are the weather, the distance, other competitors, the route. So you'd probably not even use any energy or time to try changing those. Factors you might be able to influence but not necessarily control are your start position, your kit, footwear. You have to wear your own or a team kit. Although it's not guaranteed, it still might be worth trying to do something about those. What you have got control and influence over are your own nutrition, your own training, your own fitness. So you should concentrate on these. Your time and effort are worth putting in. Again, it's worth thinking about playing to your strengths. Who would enjoy doing something or find it easy? Sorted. The more diverse your network, the more likely it is that you'll have someone you can rely on to do the bits you can't do or don't enjoy. Working together on something gives you the opportunity to appreciate other people's talents and for them to acknowledge yours. Don't waste precious time on lots of little things that others could easily do for themselves. You might free up some time to spend on higher level work or your own training or working with union reps or managers on a change or improvement within your service. Depending on your existing or potential networks, these are some very useful guidelines to follow. And by making yourself useful to others, you'll gain from the relationship with them. Although, a note of caution, you might find some people are takers, meaning that they use the network for their own benefit and never share or give anything themselves. So A, avoid them, only give to givers. B, don't become a taker, otherwise people won't share with you. If you do all these things without thinking, that's because you've got the skills. If you'd like it to work even more for you, make it a conscious activity, professionally, in your union work, at home. Your network should never be finite. Share the advice with students or other colleagues. You never know, they might become part of your support work because you've supported or inspired them. Extend your networks to family and friends and get them involved in local issues too. Community groups, young people, older people, they can be valuable allies if you're planning something around services changing there. Sometimes they have the time, energy, or feel able to say something you'd feel awkward saying yourself. So this is your homework for this first Health Visitors Week 2016. You can start it today. Perhaps you've already begun to talk with the activities we've seen. You have the skills. You need to lead and inspire others to change or improve what's possible to do, because they'll know it makes sense. So come back next year with your networks extensive, your Unite CPHVA activity refreshed and moving along, your professional voice louder and prouder than ever. If you do all this, try to encourage everyone else to too. Share your knowledge, be a good networker, a good organizer, a good manager, a great leader. Don't do things for other people, support them to do it for themselves. So things are really moving, with active, involved health visitors and community practitioners in your organization working together. Thank you for listening and for your time. This last slide is just to remind you about easy ways to keep in touch and keep involved.